Do you feel like you're capable of so much more, but don't know how to break free from where you are? What if I told you that the life you've always dreamed of is within reach, and all it takes is rebuilding yourself, step by step? This book is your roadmap to success, a guide to creating the mindset, habits, and actions that will propel you forward. It's not about waiting for the right moment. It's about making every day count. Whether you're looking to level up in your career, improve your relationships, or simply live with more purpose, this book will give you the tools to start transforming your life today. Success isn't a destination, it's a journey, and it starts with you. Are you ready to rebuild yourself for the success you deserve? Let's get started. Chapter 1. Start with where you are. I want to begin with something incredibly important, something that could change everything for you if you truly understand it. You have to start with where you are. Look, I know it's tempting to look ahead. It's easy to think about the person you want to become or the life you want to live. And trust me, I'm all about setting big goals and creating a vision for the future. But if you skip this step, starting with where you are, you're setting yourself up for disappointment and frustration down the road. It's like trying to drive to a new city without knowing your starting point. You'll end up lost. And nothing is more frustrating than putting in effort and not knowing if you're going in the right direction. You see, if you want to transform your life, you have to first get real with yourself. Be honest about where you are, right now at this very moment. And I mean really honest. It's not about judging yourself or feeling bad about where you are. It's about understanding your starting point, so you can map out a clear path forward. That's how you create lasting change, not by ignoring where you're at or pretending things are fine when they're not, but by facing reality head-on. I'm not talking about beating yourself up. That's not what this is. The key is this: when you can face where you are, with all its ups and downs, strengths and weaknesses, you can begin to make a plan to get where you want to go. And trust me, this is the only way forward. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, I'll get started when my schedule clears up. I'll get started when I have more money. I'll get started when I feel more confident. The problem with this kind of thinking is that it's all about waiting for things to line up perfectly before taking action. But here's the truth: things will never line up perfectly. That's not how life works. There's no magical moment when all the stars align. So if you keep waiting, you'll just keep waiting. And the years will slip by, and you'll find yourself in the exact same spot. The truth is, where you are right now is exactly where you need to start. No excuses, no waiting for the perfect time. Just a commitment to begin, right here, right now. But how do you do that? How do you start with where you are? It begins with something so simple, yet so powerful. You have to take a good hard look at your current reality. Really, get honest with yourself about where you stand in all areas of your life. Now, I know this can feel uncomfortable. We all like to think things are better than they are, or we push ourselves to believe we're doing better than we really are. But you can't improve what you're not willing to face. So if you want to move forward, the first step is to be real with yourself about what's working and what's not. Let's take a look at a few areas of your life that are worth considering: your career, your health, your relationships, and your finances. These are the main pillars that most of us focus on when we think about improving our lives. Start by asking yourself, how do I feel about my job? Are you fulfilled? Do you feel like you're growing and learning? Or are you simply going through the motions? Is your work energizing you, or is it draining you? Do you have the kind of career that excites you when you wake up in the morning, or do you dread the thought of going in? Getting honest about this is crucial, because your job isn't just where you spend your time. It's a big part of how you feel about yourself and your future. If you're stuck in a job that doesn't fulfill you, it's time to recognize that and make a change. Now let's talk about your health. How are you treating your body? Are you eating right? Exercising? Sleeping well? Or are you letting your health slip? If you're not taking care of yourself, everything else in your life will eventually suffer. So, take a moment to honestly assess how you're treating your body. If you're not happy with the answer, it's time to change. But don't get overwhelmed. Just start small. Begin with one change that will help you feel better physically. It could be drinking more water, taking a 20-minute walk, or cutting back on junk food. Small actions, consistently taken, lead to big results. Let's talk about relationships next. This one is huge. Think about the people in your life, your family, your friends, your colleagues. Are these relationships lifting you up or dragging you down? Do you feel supported, encouraged, and motivated by the people around you? Or do you feel drained by negativity, criticism, and toxic dynamics? Your relationships have a massive impact on your well-being and success. The people you spend the most time with shape your outlook, your energy, and even your actions. If the people around you aren't supporting your growth, it's time to evaluate whether they belong in your circle. Surround yourself with those who inspire you, challenge you, and help you become the best version of yourself. And then, there's your finances. Money can be a tough topic to face, but it's important. If you're constantly stressed about money, or living paycheck to paycheck, it can feel like an anchor holding you down. I want you to get real with yourself about your financial situation. Are you saving for the future? Are you spending wisely? Are you managing your money in a way that reflects your values? Your relationship with money plays a big role in how secure and successful you feel. If you're struggling, it's time to take control. Start by making a budget, cutting back on unnecessary expenses, and setting a goal for saving or paying down debt. Take charge of your finances, and you'll feel more empowered in every area of your life. I want you to remember something. Starting with where you are doesn't mean you're stuck. It doesn't mean you have to stay where you are. It simply means you're acknowledging your current reality so you can take action and move forward. This is the first step to real change. So, how do you move forward from here? It's simple. You take the next step. You don't need to have everything figured out right away. You don't need a perfect plan. All you need is the commitment to take action from where you are. The key to success isn't in waiting for the perfect moment. It's in starting where you are and making consistent small steps toward your goals. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. If you need help, seek out mentors, coaches, or supportive friends who can help you on this journey. Surround yourself with people who want to see you succeed and who will hold you accountable. Starting with where you are is the most powerful thing you can do for your future. It might be uncomfortable at first, but that's okay. Change is uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable, but it's the only way to move forward. So, get real with yourself, face where you are, and take that first step. The rest will follow. Chapter 2. Decide who you want to become. The moment you decide who you want to become is the moment your life begins to shift. It's not some big dramatic event. It's a quiet realization that sets the stage for everything else. It's the first step in creating the future you've always dreamed of. But more than that, it's about taking control of your destiny. So let me ask you something. Have you ever really sat down and asked yourself, who do I want to become? And I don't mean the general stuff, like I want to be successful, or I want to be rich. I mean really digging deep and getting clear about the person you want to grow into. Who are you really? What kind of person do you want to be when you look back at your life in 5, 10, or 20 years? What's the vision you have for yourself? You see, life has this funny way of pulling us in different directions. There are so many expectations and outside pressures. There's society telling you what you should do, your family telling you what you should be, and even your own self-doubt whispering, you can't do it. But when you take a moment to really ask yourself this question, who do I want to become? You step into a new kind of power. You move from being a passive observer in your own life to being the creator of your future. I get it. It's a big question, and sometimes it feels overwhelming. How do you even begin to answer it? How do you figure out who you truly want to be in a world full of noise and distractions? Well, it starts with getting quiet and giving yourself the space to think. For most of us, we spend so much time looking outward, we forget to look inward. We forget to take a moment and say, what does success actually look like for me? What does the ideal version of myself do every day? How do they speak? What do they think about? What kind of relationships do they have? What impact are they making in the world? These aren't easy questions to answer, but they are the foundation of everything that comes after. And here's the thing, you don't have to have it all figured out right away. I know it's easy to think that you need to have a step-by-step plan laid out, but that's not how this works. It's not about having every detail mapped out. It's about setting your intentions and knowing the general direction you want to go in. Think of it like setting a destination on a GPS. You don't need to know the exact route just yet. You just need to know where you're heading. When you can clearly define who you want to become, it gives you something to aim for. It provides clarity in moments of doubt, and it helps you make decisions with confidence. If you want to be a person who's successful in their career, for example, then you need to ask yourself what that looks like. Do they work 12-hour days? Do they focus on building relationships? Do they invest in learning new skills? The answer to that question is uniquely yours. But here's the catch. You can't just wish to become the person you want to be. You have to act in alignment with that vision every single day. You've probably heard people say, you are what you do every day. It's not just a catchy phrase, it's the truth. Every action you take, whether big or small, is shaping the person you're becoming. So I want you to think about this for a second. If you want to become a person who prioritizes health and fitness, are you taking steps every day toward that goal? Are you choosing healthier foods? Are you moving your body regularly? Are you getting enough sleep? These might seem like small decisions, but over time they add up to massive change. The same goes for your career, your relationships, and your finances. If you want to be financially independent, are you learning about money management? Are you cutting back on unnecessary spending? Are you taking steps to increase your income? Every single day is an opportunity to act in alignment with who you want to become. But it's not always easy, is it? Sometimes we get stuck in habits or patterns that don't serve us. We fall into routines that aren't in alignment with our goals, and we convince ourselves that this is just how things are. We make excuses. We procrastinate. We convince ourselves that we'll start tomorrow. But I'll tell you something. Tomorrow is never promised. If you don't start today, you might never start. And the person you want to become, well, they'll stay just a dream. I know that might sound harsh, but it's the truth. And truth, even when it's uncomfortable, is what sets us free. Because when you face the reality that change needs to happen now, that's when you take your first step toward the future you want. Now let's talk about something that often gets in the way of people truly deciding who they want to become. Fear is a sneaky thing. It's easy to think that fear is only about being scared of big things like public speaking or starting a business. But fear shows up in so many other ways. It can look like doubt. It can look like procrastination. It can show up as perfectionism, where you feel like you have to get everything just right before you can start. But let me tell you something. Perfection is a trap. Waiting for everything to be perfect will keep you stuck. You have to let go of the need for perfection and just start, even if you don't feel ready. Because here's the truth, you will never feel completely ready. You will always have doubts, always have moments of uncertainty, but that's okay. It's normal. The key is to take action despite the fear. The people you admire, the ones who seem to have it all figured out, the ones who are living their dream life, they're not fearless. They've just learned to take action even when they feel afraid. They've decided who they want to become, and they show up every day as that person, even when it's hard. So, here's the challenge for you. Decide who you want to become. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the right moment. Don't wait for things to feel perfect. Just decide. The clarity you gain from making that decision will be more valuable than anything else. And once you decide, show up every single day as that person, no matter how small the steps may seem. The process won't always be smooth. There will be bumps in the road, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But I promise you this, if you keep showing up, if you keep taking action, if you keep moving in the direction of who you want to become, you will eventually get there. It might take time, it might take hard work, but it will happen. The person you want to be is already inside of you. You just have to decide to bring them to the surface. And once you do, your life will start to transform in ways you never thought possible. So take that first step. Make the decision. Start today. Chapter 3. Make peace with your past. We all have a past. You do. I do. We all do. And while it's easy to think that where we've been doesn't matter, the truth is that it shapes who we are today. Sometimes it shapes us in ways we like, but often it can hold us back without us even realizing it. I know this might sound heavy, but I need you to hear this loud and clear. If you want to move forward in life, you've got to make peace with your past. Now, I'm not talking about pretending your past didn't happen or sweeping things under the rug. That's not peace, that's denial. Peace comes from accepting the past for what it is, acknowledging it, and letting go of the power it has over you. Only then can you step into the future with the kind of energy that brings real change. I get it. Some of your past might be painful. Some of it might be full of regret, missed opportunities, mistakes, or even trauma. And I'm not saying it's easy to let go of that. In fact, it can feel impossible sometimes. But here's the thing, you cannot move forward by holding on to the past. It's like trying to drive while looking in the rearview mirror the whole time. You can't move forward that way. If you keep focusing on where you've been, you'll never reach the place you want to go. Let's talk about the weight of regret for a moment. How many times have you thought about something you did or didn't do in the past and found yourself caught in that spiral of what if? What if I had made a different choice? What if I had worked harder? What if I had taken that opportunity? It's easy to get stuck in that cycle. Trust me, I've been there. But here's the thing, what ifs don't serve you. They only keep you trapped in a past that's long gone. The truth is, you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. And that's all anyone can do. We can't change what happened. No amount of wishing or regretting can rewrite the past. The only thing we can control is what we do with it now. I know it can be hard to let go of the mistakes, the disappointments, or the things you wish had gone differently. But what if, instead of holding on to the pain, you could take those experiences and use them as fuel to create something better? What if, instead of seeing your past as something that holds you back, you could see it as the foundation for your future growth? Because that's exactly what it is. Your past has lessons that, if you allow them to, can teach you how to live a better life going forward. I think one of the biggest roadblocks to making peace with the past is shame. We all carry shame to some degree. Whether it's about a decision we made, something we said, or something we failed to do. Shame keeps us stuck, and it keeps us from showing up as the best version of ourselves. But let me tell you something. You are not your mistakes. You are not the worst thing you've ever done. You are so much more than that. And when you allow yourself to believe that, when you allow yourself to forgive yourself, that's when true freedom begins. Forgiveness is key. And I'm not just talking about forgiving others, though that's important too. I'm talking about forgiving yourself. Because when you hold on to grudges against yourself, when you constantly remind yourself of all the things you could have done differently, you're living in a prison of your own making. Letting go of the past means letting go of the self-blame and the guilt that keep you anchored to it. It means recognizing that the mistakes you made are part of your story, but they do not define you. You are defined by what you choose to do today and what you choose to do tomorrow. This isn't to say that everything in your past was easy or that everything was your fault. Sometimes life deals us a difficult hand and we carry scars as a result. Maybe you've been through things that were out of your control, things that hurt you in ways that still affect you. I'm not here to downplay your pain or tell you to just move on without giving yourself the time and space to heal. Healing takes time. But what I am saying is this: you have the power to decide that your past will no longer control your future. You have the power to choose how much weight you give to those old wounds. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means learning to live with those scars in a way that no longer holds you back. Now, let's talk about something else that can keep us stuck in the past: the story we tell ourselves about who we are. Often we define ourselves by our past experiences. I failed that time, so I'm a failure. I wasn't good enough before, so I'm not good enough now. I didn't reach that goal, so I must not be capable of success. These stories are powerful. They shape the way we see ourselves and the way we show up in the world. But here's the truth: those stories are not set in stone. You have the power to rewrite your story. Instead of seeing yourself as a product of your past mistakes, start seeing yourself as someone who's capable of growth. Instead of identifying as someone who's been hurt, start identifying as someone who's healed. Instead of focusing on all the ways you've fallen short, start focusing on all the ways you're rising up. Because, my friend, you are more than the sum of your past. You are a work in progress, and every day is a new opportunity to rewrite your future. Making peace with your past doesn't mean forgetting it or pretending it didn't happen. It doesn't mean excusing your mistakes or the things that went wrong. What it does mean is accepting that it's part of your journey and using it as a tool for growth, rather than something that holds you back. It means releasing the emotional grip that the past has on you and choosing to move forward with a new perspective. This takes practice. You may have to remind yourself every day that you are not defined by your past. But the more you practice it, the easier it gets. And as you let go of the weight of the past, you'll find that your energy, your focus, and your ability to move forward become stronger. The future you've always dreamed of is waiting for you, but in order to reach it, you have to make peace with where you've been. So here's my challenge for you. Let go of the shame. Let go of the regret. Let go of the things you can't change. Stop letting the past control who you are and who you can become. It's not easy, and it won't happen overnight, but every time you make the conscious decision to move forward, you get one step closer to the person you want to be. The past is behind you. The future is ahead of you, and right now, in this very moment, you have the power to choose who you are going to be. Decide to let go. Decide to make peace. And decide that today is the day you start living in alignment with your true potential. Chapter 4. Commit to lifelong learning. The more you learn, the more you grow, and the more you grow, the more opportunities you'll have, the more fulfilled you'll be, and the more successful you'll become. But here's the catch. Learning doesn't end when you graduate from school or when you hit a certain milestone in your career. Lifelong learning is the key to a life that's always expanding, always improving, and always moving forward. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's true. The world is constantly changing. What you knew 5 years ago might not be enough today, and what you know today might not be enough 5 years from now. So if you want to stay ahead of the game, if you want to continue evolving and adapting, you've got to commit to learning for the rest of your life. It's not just about getting by, it's about getting better every single day. But here's where people often get stuck. They think learning only happens in a classroom or through formal education. They think learning is something that's reserved for a certain age or a certain stage in life. But let me tell you something. Learning is for everyone at every stage, and it's a tool you can use to break through barriers, overcome challenges, and create the life you've always wanted. The truth is, the most successful people in the world aren't the ones who stop learning after they finish school. They're the ones who keep learning every single day. And this is what I want to challenge you to do. Make a commitment to lifelong learning and watch how it changes your life. Now I know you might be thinking, I'm too busy to learn right now. Or maybe you're saying, I don't have time for more education. I get it. Life is hectic. We're all juggling so many things. But let me ask you, how much time do you spend scrolling through social media, binge-watching TV shows, or doing things that don't help you grow? I'm not saying you need to cut out your relaxation time entirely, but what if you could replace just a small portion of that time with learning? What if, instead of watching the same show for the third time, you could pick up a book, listen to a podcast, or take an online course that will teach you something new? The best part about learning today is that there are no limits. You can learn almost anything from anywhere. You don't have to enroll in a traditional school or pay a fortune to get access to valuable knowledge. The internet is a goldmine of resources, and many of them are free. Whether it's a TED Talk, an audiobook, a webinar, or a course on YouTube, there's no excuse for not learning something new every day. And if you can't find it for free, there are plenty of affordable resources available that can help you level up in any area of your life. But here's where most people go wrong. They approach learning passively. They think they can just absorb information without putting it into practice. But that's not how real learning works. Learning isn't just about taking in knowledge. It's about applying that knowledge to improve your life. It's about taking what you learn and using it to make smarter decisions, take better actions, and become a better version of yourself. For example, let's say you've decided you want to improve your health. You could read every book on nutrition and exercise. You could listen to all the podcasts and watch all the YouTube videos about how to get in shape. But if you don't apply what you learn, if you don't take action, it's all just wasted information. The real power comes when you take what you've learned and start making small, consistent changes. It's not enough to just know, you have to do. The same goes for your career. You could learn all the skills in the world, but if you don't apply them, you're not going to see any real progress. The key is to take action on what you've learned, even if it's just one small step at a time. Over time, those small steps add up, and you'll be amazed at how much you've grown. But applying knowledge is just part of the equation. You also need to be willing to learn from your mistakes. That's right. I said it. You need to embrace failure as part of your learning process. Too many people are afraid of making mistakes, but the truth is, failure is often the best teacher. Every time you mess up, every time something doesn't go as planned, there's a lesson to be learned. And when you learn from those experiences, you become more resilient, more capable, and more prepared for what's ahead. Think about it. Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who failed the most. They didn't let failure define them, they let it refine them. They took the lessons from their mistakes and used them to come back stronger. If they can do it, so can you. One of the best ways to commit to lifelong learning is to adopt a growth mindset. This is the belief that your abilities and intelligence aren't fixed. They can grow and improve over time. People with a growth mindset believe that effort and learning are key to success, and they embrace challenges rather than shy away from them. They understand that mistakes are part of the process, and they're willing to put in the work to improve. If you can cultivate a growth mindset, you'll be unstoppable. But it's not just about learning new skills or information. Lifelong learning also means developing emotional intelligence. It means learning how to manage your emotions, how to relate to others, and how to build stronger, more meaningful relationships. It means learning how to handle stress, how to bounce back from setbacks, and how to stay focused on your goals. Emotional intelligence is just as important as technical skills, if not more so. If you want to build a successful life, you need to be able to handle yourself and your emotions in any situation. So, how do you commit to lifelong learning? The first step is to make it a habit. Just like brushing your teeth or exercising, learning should be something you do every day. It doesn't have to be a huge time commitment. Just dedicate a few minutes each day to reading a book, listening to a podcast, or learning something new. Over time, these small moments of learning will add up, and you'll find that you're growing faster than you ever thought possible. Next, create a plan for your learning. What do you want to learn? What areas of your life need improvement? Maybe you want to learn more about personal finance, or maybe you want to become a better leader. Whatever it is, make a plan to focus on it. Set specific goals for your learning and break those goals down into manageable steps. This will help you stay on track and ensure that you're always moving forward. And finally, surround yourself with people who value learning too. Seek out mentors, coaches, or friends who inspire you to keep growing. The people you spend the most time with will influence your mindset and your habits, so make sure you're surrounded by individuals who encourage you to keep learning and improving. Lifelong learning is one of the most powerful tools you can use to create the life you want. It's a commitment to your growth, your success, and your future. And the best part, the more you learn, the more you'll realize that there's always something new to discover. The world is full of endless opportunities for growth, and when you commit to lifelong learning, you'll never stop evolving. Chapter 5. Build your personal philosophy. There's one thing you need to realize if you're serious about success. Your personal philosophy is the foundation upon which everything else is built. It's the lens through which you see the world, the set of beliefs that guide your decisions, and the blueprint that shapes your actions. You might not even think about it consciously every day, but whether you realize it or not, your personal philosophy is the force behind the way you approach life. What does that mean? It means that your thoughts, your mindset, and the way you interpret events have a direct impact on your outcomes. If you have a positive, growth-oriented philosophy, you'll take action toward your goals with confidence, and you'll find solutions even in the toughest situations. But if your philosophy is negative or limiting, you'll constantly find yourself stuck, wondering why things aren't working out the way you hoped. You see, your philosophy shapes the way you behave, which in turn determines what you achieve. So, if you want to change your life, you need to change your philosophy. You need to make sure that your beliefs are aligned with the life you want to create. If you don't know where to start, don't worry. I'm going to walk you through how to build a solid personal philosophy that will support you on your journey to success. The first thing to understand is that your personal philosophy is something you create. It's not handed to you by anyone else, and it's not something that's fixed forever. It evolves as you grow, learn, and experience life. But here's the key: you get to decide what it is. You get to choose the beliefs that serve you and reject the ones that hold you back. No one can do that for you. If you want to live a successful, fulfilling life, you have to be intentional about what you believe. One of the most important aspects of a solid personal philosophy is having a clear sense of who you are and what you stand for. When you know your values, when you know what truly matters to you, it becomes much easier to make decisions that align with your goals. And this goes beyond just knowing what you want in life. It's also about knowing how you want to behave. How do you want to show up in the world? What kind of person do you want to be? These are the types of questions you need to answer for yourself in order to build a philosophy that works for you. Start by asking yourself, what are my core values? What do I believe is truly important? Maybe it's honesty, integrity, hard work, or kindness. Whatever they are, your values should be the foundation of your philosophy. If you're not clear about your values, it's easy to get swayed by outside influences, and before you know it, you're living a life that isn't true to yourself. But when you have a strong sense of your values, you can make decisions with confidence, knowing that they align with the person you want to become. Another key element of your personal philosophy is understanding the importance of growth. Life isn't static, and neither are you. If you want to achieve something greater than where you are right now, you have to embrace the idea that growth is a lifelong process. That means you're always learning, always improving, and always striving to be better than you were yesterday. A personal philosophy that embraces growth will push you to stretch yourself, take on new challenges, and reach beyond your comfort zone. It will remind you that even setbacks are part of the process, and that they don't define you, they refine you. Now, I know some people get caught up in the idea of perfection. They think they need to have everything figured out before they can take action. But that's a trap. Perfection is an illusion. No one ever reaches a point where they know everything or have everything under control. Success isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent, learning from your mistakes, and having the courage to keep going even when things don't go as planned. If you wait for the perfect moment, you'll miss out on countless opportunities to learn and grow. Embrace the process, and remember that failure is just feedback. It's not a reason to give up. It's an opportunity to improve. Along with growth, another important aspect of your philosophy is resilience. You can't control everything that happens in life, but you can control how you respond. When challenges arise, and they will, because that's just part of the journey, you can choose to face them with resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to stay strong in the face of adversity, and to keep moving forward, no matter how difficult things get. People with a resilient mindset don't get discouraged when things go wrong. Instead, they use challenges as fuel for their growth. They understand that every obstacle is a chance to learn something valuable. The next piece of your personal philosophy is having a sense of purpose. When you know why you're doing something, it's much easier to stay motivated and committed. Without a clear purpose, it's easy to get distracted or to lose sight of your goals. Purpose gives you direction. It helps you focus on what matters most and keeps you moving forward, even when the road gets tough. Ask yourself, what's my why? Why do I do what I do? Why do I want to achieve the goals I've set? If you can't answer those questions, it's time to dig deeper. Find out what drives you. Whether it's your family, your passion for helping others, or a desire to make a difference in the world, your purpose will keep you grounded and focused as you work toward your goals. When it comes to success, it's easy to get caught up in external measures, money, status, recognition, and so on. But the most fulfilling success comes from knowing that you've lived in alignment with your values and purpose. That's the kind of success that truly lasts. Another key component of your personal philosophy is taking responsibility for your life. This is huge. Many people like to blame others or circumstances for their problems, but that kind of thinking will never lead to real success. If you want to take control of your life and create the future you want, you need to take full responsibility for your actions and decisions. This doesn't mean you're responsible for everything that happens to you. Sometimes life throws curveballs that are out of your control. But it does mean that you are responsible for how you react to those circumstances. You have the power to choose how you respond to challenges, how you learn from mistakes, and how you move forward. If you want to change your life, you've got to take ownership. You've got to own your choices, your habits, your actions, and your results. The moment you take responsibility is the moment you start making real progress. Finally, your personal philosophy should include a commitment to adding value to the lives of others. Success is not just about what you achieve for yourself. It's also about what you contribute to the world around you. When you focus on adding value, whether it's through your work, your relationships, or your community, you create a ripple effect that can change lives. What can you give to the world? What can you do to make someone's life better? These are the questions you should be asking yourself every day. If you focus on service, on making a positive impact, the rewards will come, not just in the form of money or recognition, but in the form of fulfillment, purpose, and satisfaction. Building a strong personal philosophy takes time and effort, but it's one of the most important things you can do for yourself. It's the foundation upon which all your goals and dreams are built. So take a moment to think about what you believe, what you value, and who you want to become. Be intentional about crafting a philosophy that supports the life you want to create, and then start living it every day. The more you live by your philosophy, the more natural it will become, and the more you'll find that success isn't just a distant dream, it's the result of the way you choose to live. Chapter 6. Set goals that truly matter. When it comes to achieving success, one of the most powerful tools you can have is a clear, well-defined goal. But here's the thing, goals are not just a random collection of wishes or ideas. A goal is a destination, a marker that tells you exactly where you want to go, and more importantly, why you want to get there. So many people wander through life, unsure of what they truly want or what they're really working toward. They live day by day, responding to whatever comes their way, without any clear vision of the future. If you want to change that, If you want to take charge of your life and steer it in the direction of success, you need to learn how to set goals that truly matter. Now, I'm not talking about the usual kind of goals people set around New Year's or after they hear someone else talk about them. I'm talking about meaningful, deeply personal goals, goals that inspire you, that challenge you, and that excite you. These are the kind of goals that wake you up in the morning with a fire in your belly. These are the goals that when you look at them you say, yes, that's worth fighting for. Because when your goals truly matter, they become a driving force that pushes you forward even when things get tough. And let's be real, things will get tough. Life will test you. But when you have a goal that aligns with your purpose, with your deepest desires, you'll have the strength to push through, to persevere, and to keep moving toward that destination, no matter the obstacles. So the first thing you need to understand when setting goals is that they need to be personal. It's easy to get caught up in what other people want or think you should want. Maybe you've heard someone talk about their own goals and you think, well, that sounds good. I should make that my goal too. But that's not how it works. You can't live someone else's dream. Your goals need to reflect who you are, what you care about, and what you truly want to accomplish in life. You need to look deep within yourself and ask, what do I want? What is it that would bring me fulfillment, satisfaction, and joy? It's not just about money, status, or recognition. Sure, those things can be part of your journey, but they shouldn't be the end-all be-all. When you set a goal that speaks to your soul, one that aligns with your values and your purpose, it changes everything. You'll feel a sense of clarity and focus like never before. Everything you do will be in service of that goal. Every decision you make, every step you take, will be moving you closer to that vision you've created for yourself. That's the kind of goal I'm talking about. A goal that gives you a reason to wake up every day and push yourself to be better, to do better, to live better. But how do you know what kind of goal to set? How do you figure out what matters most to you? It starts with taking a good hard look at your life as it is right now. What are you happy with? What are you not happy with? What do you want to change? It's important to be brutally honest with yourself here. This is not about judging yourself. It's about identifying the areas of your life where you're feeling stuck, unfulfilled, or dissatisfied. When you can clearly see what's missing or what you want to improve, that's where the magic happens. That's where you'll start to uncover your true desires. You can also ask yourself some powerful questions to help guide you toward the right goal. For example, what do I want to be known for? What kind of impact do I want to have on the world? What would my ideal life look like if there were no limitations? These types of questions will help you dig deeper and discover what truly matters to you. You might find that your goals don't look like everyone else's, and that's okay. In fact, that's exactly what you want. Your goals should be unique to you, not some cookie-cutter version of what someone else thinks success looks like. Once you've identified your goals, the next step is to make them specific and clear. A vague goal like "I want to be successful" is not enough. What does success mean to you? Is it financial freedom? Is it running your own business? Is it being able to spend more time with your family? The clearer you are about what success looks like for you, the easier it will be to create a plan to get there. You need to break down your big goals into smaller, more manageable steps. These smaller goals act as stepping stones, guiding you toward your ultimate destination. Without a clear roadmap, you'll find yourself wandering aimlessly, unsure of where to go next. One of the best tools for goal setting is the SMART framework. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Let me break it down for you. When you set a specific goal, you're clearly defining what you want to achieve. It's not just a vague wish, it's a concrete, defined objective. When you make your goal measurable, you create a way to track your progress. How will you know when you've reached your goal? What metrics will tell you that you're getting closer? Achievability means setting a goal that is realistic, given your current resources, skills, and circumstances. That doesn't mean you should aim low. It means your goal should stretch you, but not so far that it feels completely out of reach. Relevance is about ensuring that your goal aligns with your values and your long-term vision. And finally, time-bound means setting a deadline for your goal. Without a deadline, it's easy to keep pushing it off and never actually take action. With this framework, you can take any big, lofty goal and break it down into manageable, actionable steps. It brings clarity, it brings focus, and most importantly, it helps you take action. And let's talk about that for a moment. Because the truth is, it's easy to get excited about a goal when you first set it. You feel motivated, inspired, and ready to take on the world. But motivation alone won't get you there. The real work comes when you've set your goal, and now you have to show up and put in the effort every day. That's when your true character is revealed. That's when discipline becomes your best friend. If you want to achieve something truly great, you have to be willing to work for it, day in and day out. This is where many people falter. They start strong, but when the going gets tough, they back off. They lose focus, they get distracted, and they wonder why they're not making progress. The key is consistency. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about showing up every single day, doing the work, and staying committed to your goal. Even on the days when you don't feel like it. Even on the days when it feels like nothing is going your way. Keep going. Keep working. Because every small step you take is bringing you closer to your goal. And don't forget to celebrate the small wins along the way. This is so important. When you set a big goal, it can sometimes feel like it's impossible to reach. But if you take the time to celebrate the small victories, the little steps forward, you'll stay motivated and energized. It's those small wins that build momentum, and before you know it, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. You'll see how all those little actions added up to something big. Remember, the road to success is not always a straight line. There will be setbacks. There will be times when you fail. There will be moments when you feel like giving up. But that's all part of the journey. The key is to stay focused on your goal and to keep pushing forward, no matter what. If you can do that, you will eventually reach your destination. The final thing I want to leave you with is this. Setting goals is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. Your goals will evolve over time. You'll outgrow some of them, and new ones will emerge. But as long as you stay true to yourself and continue setting goals that matter to you, you'll keep growing, you'll keep improving, and you'll keep moving closer to the life you've always dreamed of. Your goals are not just dreams, they are the map that guides you to your success. So get clear on what you want, break it down into actionable steps, and commit to taking consistent action every day. That's how you make your dreams a reality. Chapter 7. Harness the power of habits. If you've ever taken a look at someone successful, whether it's someone you admire personally, someone in your professional life, or even a public figure you've never met, you might notice something that they all have in common. They're incredibly consistent, and this consistency doesn't happen by accident. It's not like they wake up every day feeling motivated and just naturally make great decisions. No, consistency is the product of a habit. In fact, it's their habits, their daily routines, that drive them to success more than any fleeting burst of motivation ever could. The thing about habits is that they're simple. They're not complicated or difficult to understand, but they are incredibly powerful. Habits are the small actions we take over and over again that shape who we are and what we achieve. And the good news is, habits are not reserved for a select few. You can create them, change them, and transform your life through them. But it all starts with understanding how habits work and then putting in the effort to build the right ones. If you look closely at your life, you'll realize that you already have a set of habits. Some are great, like waking up early, exercising regularly, or taking time to read. But others might be holding you back, like procrastination, scrolling aimlessly through your phone, or letting distractions take you off course. Whether positive or negative, habits have an enormous impact on the direction of your life. They can either propel you forward or keep you stuck where you are. So, if you want to create change in your life, if you want to move from where you are now to where you want to be, you've got to take control of your habits. You have to decide what kind of habits will help you reach your goals, and then build those into your everyday routine. Now let's talk about how habits are formed. It all starts with a simple loop. A habit is essentially a three-step process: cue, routine, and reward. It begins with a cue, something that triggers the behavior. It could be something external, like the sound of an alarm clock in the morning, or something internal, like feeling stressed or tired. Then comes the routine, the actual behavior or action you take in response to that cue. Finally, there's the reward, which is the positive feeling or outcome that comes from completing the action. Maybe it's the sense of accomplishment from finishing a workout, or the satisfaction of crossing something off your to-do list. The reward reinforces the behavior, making it more likely that you'll repeat it again next time. This is how your brain forms habits. It's a feedback loop that gets stronger the more you repeat it. And that's why habits are so powerful. They become automatic. Eventually, you don't have to think about them, you just do them. The problem is, some of the habits we form are unhelpful or even harmful, and they become automatic too. Maybe you've developed the habit of checking your phone the moment you wake up, or reaching for junk food whenever you feel bored. Those behaviors are automatic, but they're not taking you anywhere good. So, how do you change those habits? How do you build the ones that will move you toward your goals? The first step is awareness. You've got to be aware of what habits you currently have, especially the ones that aren't serving you. Pay attention to the patterns in your life. What do you do every day without even thinking about it? Once you identify the habits you want to change or replace, you can start to focus on shifting them. One of the best ways to change a habit is to replace it, rather than trying to eliminate it completely. Your brain doesn't like to be deprived of rewards. If you simply try to stop a habit without offering a substitute, it's much harder to succeed. For example, if you're used to sitting down and eating a bowl of chips every evening while you watch TV, replacing that habit with something healthier, like having a small bowl of fruit or taking a walk after dinner, will help. You're not just trying to stop a bad habit, you're introducing a new positive one that serves you better. The cue might still be the same, like sitting down to watch TV, but the routine changes, and the reward is the satisfaction of taking better care of your health. Another key factor in building new habits is starting small. A common mistake people make when trying to adopt a new habit is going all in right away. They think they need to make big sweeping changes to their life, and they overwhelm themselves with too much too soon. The reality is, small changes work better in the long run. Rather than telling yourself you're going to work out for an hour every day when you haven't exercised in months, start with something manageable, maybe just 10 minutes a day. Once you start that small habit, you'll gradually build momentum, and eventually, you'll find that 10 minutes becomes 20, then 30, and so on. The key is consistency, not intensity. It's better to do a little bit every day than to do a lot for a short time and then burn out. Consistency is the name of the game when it comes to building habits. It's the daily practice that makes the difference. But it's not always easy to stay consistent. There will be days when you don't feel like it, when life gets in the way, or when the habit just doesn't seem as appealing. That's when your commitment to your goals and the vision you've created for your life becomes crucial. When you have a clear understanding of what you want and why it matters to you, you'll be more motivated to show up and do the work, even when it's hard. You'll push through the resistance because you know that the payoff is worth it. And remember, every small action compounds over time. Those little daily habits add up, and one day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. To keep yourself on track, it can be helpful to track your habits. There's something powerful about writing down your progress or checking off each day you complete a habit. It gives you a visual reminder of your commitment and reinforces your sense of accomplishment. It also helps you stay accountable to yourself. If you skip a day, it's easier to get back on track when you're keeping a record of your habits. It's a great way to see the progress you're making and to stay motivated. Now, let's talk about some of the specific habits that are going to help you move towards success. First, you need to develop the habit of prioritizing your time. Time is your most valuable resource. How you spend it will ultimately determine what you achieve. If you're not being intentional with your time, you'll find yourself reacting to everything that comes your way, rather than proactively working toward your goals. Start by setting aside time every day for the things that matter most to you, whether it's reading, exercising, working on a project, or spending time with loved ones. Put it in your calendar and treat it like an appointment you can't miss. Another important habit is practicing self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's about taking action in the face of discomfort and resisting the temptation to take shortcuts or procrastinate. It's not about being perfect, it's about doing your best and pushing through the moments of resistance. Self-discipline is what keeps you on course when everything else around you is trying to distract you. It's what will carry you through when motivation fades and challenges arise. One more habit that will change the game for you is the habit of continuous learning. No matter where you are in your journey, there's always room to grow. Make it a daily habit to read, learn, and invest in your knowledge. Whether it's through books, podcasts, or online courses, learning keeps your mind sharp and helps you stay ahead of the curve. The more you learn, the more you'll have to offer, and the more equipped you'll be to face challenges and seize opportunities. Building good habits is not an overnight process. It takes time, effort, and patience. But when you commit to developing the right habits, you're setting yourself up for long-term success. Every small step you take, every habit you build, brings you closer to the person you want to become. So take control of your habits and watch how they shape your future. Chapter 8. Master the Art of Discipline. It's no secret that life can throw us curveballs. It doesn't matter how prepared we think we are, how hard we try, or how much we plan. Things will go wrong, we'll face setbacks, and obstacles will appear when we least expect them. And when that happens, it's easy to let our emotions get the best of us. We might get frustrated, discouraged, or even give up. But here's the truth. The difference between people who find success and those who don't often comes down to one thing: discipline. Discipline is that invisible force that drives you to push through the tough times, the difficult moments when you feel like quitting. It's what separates the dreamers from the achievers. But discipline is not something you're born with. It's a skill that must be developed, nurtured, and practiced every day. It's about doing the right things, even when you don't feel like it. It's the ability to stay focused on your goals, despite the distractions and challenges that come your way. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I'm just not disciplined. I have good intentions, But when it comes to actually following through, I struggle. Believe me, you're not alone. We've all been there. The good news is, discipline isn't something that's reserved for a select few. It's something that anyone can learn and build over time. It starts with understanding the importance of discipline and then putting in the effort to make it a habit. Think about it for a second. When you're truly disciplined, you can tackle almost any challenge that comes your way. You'll be able to maintain focus, even when things aren't going as planned. You won't give up when you face failure. Instead, you'll learn from your mistakes, get back on track, and keep moving forward. Discipline is what allows you to follow through on your promises, to take action on your goals, even when you don't feel motivated. Motivation can be fleeting, and let's be honest, it's hard to stay motivated all the time. But discipline is what gets you up every morning, what drives you to do the work, even when your motivation is nowhere to be found. But where does discipline come from? How do you build it? It all starts with making a commitment to yourself. You need to be clear about your goals and what you're willing to do to achieve them. Without a clear vision and a strong commitment, discipline will be hard to maintain. When you know exactly what you want and why it matters to you, it's easier to stay disciplined. You're not just going through the motions, you're taking deliberate action towards something that has real meaning in your life. The next step is to set clear, specific goals. If you don't have a clear target, it's much harder to stay disciplined. For example, if you say you want to get in shape, that's too vague. But if you set a goal to exercise for 30 minutes every day or run a 5K in 6 months, that's something concrete that you can work toward. Having a clear goal gives you a sense of purpose and direction, making it easier to stay disciplined. Once you have clear goals in place, you need to break them down into smaller, manageable tasks. Large goals can feel overwhelming, and it's easy to get discouraged when you're looking at a huge mountain to climb. But when you break it down into smaller steps, it feels more achievable. Instead of focusing on the big picture, focus on the next step. If your goal is to write a book, for example, don't think about the entire book all at once. Instead, commit to writing for 30 minutes every day. That's something you can control, and over time, those 30-minute writing sessions will add up, and you'll find yourself making significant progress toward your goal. One of the most important things to understand about discipline is that it's about consistency, not perfection. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that we have to do everything perfectly, but that's not the point. What matters is showing up every day and doing the work, even when it's hard or when you don't feel like it. Perfection is overrated. Consistency, on the other hand, is key. You don't have to be perfect to be disciplined. You just have to keep going, day after day, even when it feels like you're not making progress. The compound effect of small, consistent actions over time is what leads to real success. But let's get real for a moment. Staying disciplined is not always easy. There will be days when you don't want to do the work. You'll face distractions, temptations, and setbacks. Life will get in the way, and it will be tempting to put things off or quit altogether. So how do you keep going when things get tough? One of the most powerful ways to stay disciplined is to create a routine. A routine takes the decision-making out of the equation. When you have a set schedule and specific actions that you take every day, it becomes easier to stay disciplined. Your routine is like a roadmap that guides you through your day, so you don't have to waste mental energy figuring out what to do next. When your routine is in place, discipline becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it, you just do it. Start by identifying the most important habits that will help you achieve your goals. These could be things like exercising every morning, spending time learning and growing, or working on your most important projects. Once you've identified those habits, make them non-negotiable. Build them into your routine and commit to doing them every single day. When you stick to your routine, you're training your mind and body to be disciplined, and over time, it becomes second nature. Another important factor in maintaining discipline is accountability. It's easy to let ourselves off the hook, especially when no one is watching. But when you make a commitment to someone else, whether it's a friend, a mentor, or even a coach, you're more likely to follow through. Accountability helps keep you on track and gives you an added layer of motivation. When you know that someone else is counting on you, you'll be less likely to procrastinate or make excuses. The simple act of telling someone about your goals and progress can make all the difference in staying disciplined. And here's something to remember. Discipline isn't about being harsh with yourself. It's about being kind and understanding when you fall short. You're going to slip up from time to time, and that's okay. The key is to not let those slip-ups derail you. Instead, view them as part of the process. Learn from them, adjust your approach, and keep going. Be gentle with yourself and focus on the progress you're making, rather than beating yourself up for the setbacks. At the end of the day, discipline is what turns your dreams into reality. It's what turns your goals into achievements. It's what keeps you moving forward, even when the road gets tough. And the best part, discipline is something that you can build one step at a time. It's a skill that you can improve every single day. So, take a moment and ask yourself, what can I do today to practice discipline? What small action can I take that will move me closer to my goal? And then, take that action. Because when you build discipline, you're building the foundation for everything else that's to come. Chapter 9. Create your morning and evening routines. One of the most powerful things you can do for your personal growth and long-term success is to develop routines that support your goals and your overall well-being. I'm talking about those daily rituals, the small actions you take each day that add up over time to create big results. You see, we often think that success is all about grand, sweeping changes or big, dramatic breakthroughs, but in reality, it's the small things, the consistent actions that truly shape our lives. And these actions often happen when we create routines that keep us on track, even when the motivation isn't there. Now, I know routines don't always sound exciting. They can feel a little mundane, repetitive even, and let's face it, who really likes to follow a rigid schedule every single day? But here's the thing, routines aren't about doing the same thing over and over because you have to. They're about doing things that set you up for success in the long run. Routines take the guesswork out of your day and help you focus on what really matters. They give you structure, but more importantly, they help you use your time wisely. You don't waste energy trying to figure out what you're supposed to do next, and that frees you up to be more productive and focused on the tasks that are going to move you closer to your goals. Take a moment to think about how you start your day. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? Do you hit snooze on your alarm clock, roll out of bed in a hurry, and rush through your morning routine just to get to work? If that's the case, then you're missing out on a huge opportunity to set the tone for your entire day. Your morning routine is critical because it's how you set yourself up for success. If you start your day with purpose and intention, you're far more likely to make positive choices throughout the rest of the day. On the other hand, if you wake up feeling rushed, stressed, or disorganized, it's much harder to maintain a productive and focused mindset. Think about successful people you admire. One thing they likely all have in common is a strong morning routine. They wake up early, they take time to care for themselves, and they get themselves mentally prepared for the day ahead. A great morning routine doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as waking up 30 minutes earlier to do something that fuels your body and mind. Maybe you start with a short workout to get your blood flowing, followed by a healthy breakfast and some quiet time to read or journal. You might meditate, practice gratitude, or even visualize the day ahead. The key is to do something that centers you, that sets you up to tackle whatever challenges come your way. But it's not just your mornings that matter. Your evenings are just as important, because the way you wind down your day can have a profound impact on how well you sleep. And sleep is essential for your physical and mental health. If you don't prioritize rest and recovery, you'll quickly find yourself running on empty, struggling to keep up with everything you need to do. A strong evening routine helps you unwind, let go of the day's stresses, and get the rest you need to show up as your best self the next day. Think about your current evening routine. Do you find yourself scrolling through social media or watching TV until the last minute, only to crash into bed exhausted? If that sounds familiar, it's time to make some changes. A good evening routine should allow you to relax and transition from your busy day into a peaceful night of rest. Maybe it's as simple as turning off all electronics an hour before bed, dimming the lights, and reading a book or practicing some deep breathing exercises. You want to create an environment that tells your mind and body it's time to slow down. The better you sleep, the more energy and focus you'll have when you wake up the next morning. But let's dive a little deeper into why routines are so powerful. It all comes down to the way our brains work. When we repeat certain actions over and over, they become automatic. Our brain starts to form habits, and once something becomes a habit, we don't have to think about it anymore. That's why routines are so effective. They take away the mental effort of having to decide what to do next. Instead of trying to figure out what's best in the moment, you just follow your established routine, and that frees up your mental energy for more important things. Take exercise, for example. When exercise is part of your daily routine, it stops feeling like a big decision. It's just something you do, like brushing your teeth. You don't spend time trying to talk yourself into it or figuring out when to fit it in. It's just built into your day. The same goes for things like eating healthy, working on personal projects, or learning new skills. If these things are part of your routine, they become non-negotiable. You don't have to wait for motivation to strike. You don't have to wait until you feel like it. You just do it because it's part of who you are. But I get it. There are days when you won't feel like following your routine. There will be times when you're tired, distracted, or overwhelmed. And that's okay. The key is to remember that routines are there to support you, not to add stress to your life. They're there to make sure you stay on track, even when the going gets tough. The magic of a good routine is that, even on days when you're not at your best, you still make progress. You still take action, even if it's just a small step forward. And those small steps add up over time, leading you to bigger results. Now you might be wondering, how do I create a routine that actually works for me? It's important to understand that there's no one-size-fits-all solution. What works for one person might not work for another, and that's okay. The key is to find what feels right for you and what aligns with your goals and values. Start by thinking about the things that matter most to you. What do you need to do every day to move closer to your goals? What practices can help you feel more energized, focused, and calm? Once you have that clarity, you can begin to design your own routine. Start small. It's easy to get excited about creating a new routine and try to add too much all at once. But that's a surefire way to burn out. Begin with 1 or 2 key actions that you can commit to every day and gradually build from there. For example, you might start by committing to a 10-minute morning workout and then add in a few minutes of journaling or meditation. Over time, as you get more comfortable with your routine, you can add new elements and expand it. The key is consistency. The more consistently you practice your routine, the more ingrained it becomes, and the easier it is to maintain. As you develop your routine, be sure to make time for self-care and rest. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of daily life, but if you're constantly running on empty, you won't be able to give your best. Prioritize your physical and mental well-being by incorporating activities that recharge you. This could be something as simple as taking a walk outside, spending time with loved ones, or engaging in a creative hobby. Make sure your routine supports your overall health and happiness, because success isn't just about productivity, it's about living a balanced, fulfilling life. In the end, routines are powerful tools that can help you stay on track, maintain focus, and achieve your goals. They give you structure and consistency, but they also provide space for growth and self-care. When you build routines that support your well-being and align with your aspirations, you set yourself up for long-term success. So ask yourself, what routines can I start implementing today that will bring me closer to the person I want to be tomorrow? The answer lies in the small actions you take today, and over time, they'll shape the future you're striving toward. Chapter 10. Overcome fear with action. You've probably heard the saying, fear is the enemy of progress. And it's true, fear can stop us dead in our tracks. It can convince us that we're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough to go after what we want in life. Fear has a way of keeping us small, keeping us safe in our comfort zones where nothing changes and nothing grows. But here's the catch. Staying in that comfort zone is a surefire way to keep yourself from ever achieving greatness. The longer you let fear control you, the more it holds you back from realizing your full potential. The truth is, fear will always be a part of the journey. It doesn't matter how successful or experienced you are, fear never really goes away. It changes forms, sure, but it's always lurking in the background, waiting for the right moment to step forward. The key isn't to get rid of fear entirely. That's unrealistic. The key is to learn how to face your fears head-on and keep moving forward anyway. Fear might knock on your door, but that doesn't mean you have to let it in. Overcoming fear is not a one-time thing. It's something you'll have to do again and again. Each time you step up to the plate and take action despite feeling afraid, you get a little stronger, a little braver, and a little more confident. It's a skill you can develop over time, and just like any skill, it requires practice. I know that sounds a little easier said than done. When fear is standing in front of you, it can feel overwhelming. It might keep you up at night, telling you that you're not ready, that you'll fail, or that it's better to stay where you are than risk the unknown. Fear can be loud and convincing, and sometimes it's hard to hear anything else over its deafening voice. But here's something important to remember. The voice of fear is not the voice of truth. Fear is based on what-ifs. It's rooted in our imagination, often projecting outcomes that haven't even happened yet. It's a voice that's trying to protect you, yes, but it's also trying to keep you stuck in the past, in what's comfortable and familiar. It's not serving you. So how do you start to silence that voice and take action despite the fear? First, you need to understand that fear isn't something that's going to go away just because you ignore it. It's a part of the process, but fear can only control you if you allow it to. The next time fear rears its ugly head, instead of trying to get rid of it, acknowledge it. Look at it. See it for what it is, a temporary feeling that has no power unless you give it power. Just because you feel fear doesn't mean you can't act. In fact, The most successful people you admire have probably felt fear many times along their journeys. What set them apart wasn't the absence of fear, but their ability to take action anyway. One thing that really helps when you're feeling afraid is to break things down. The bigger the task or the challenge, the more intimidating it can seem. But if you focus on the entire mountain ahead, it's easy to become paralyzed by the size of it. The key is to focus on the next step, not the whole mountain. Ask yourself, what's one small action I can take right now to move forward? The moment you take that first step, you begin to build momentum, and the fear starts to lose its grip on you. The more steps you take, the easier it becomes to keep going, because each step proves that you're capable, that the fear doesn't have to stop you. Another powerful tool for overcoming fear is to reframe your thoughts. A lot of times, we get so caught up in our fears that we forget to look at the bigger picture. We blow things out of proportion, thinking that if we fail, it's the end of the world. But failure is not fatal, it's part of the process. Every successful person has failed countless times before reaching their goals. What makes them successful isn't that they never failed, it's that they didn't let failure stop them. They saw each setback as an opportunity to learn and grow, not as a reason to quit. You can reframe your fear by changing the way you look at failure. Instead of seeing it as something to avoid, start seeing it as a lesson. What can you learn from this experience? What can you do differently next time? When you reframe failure in this way, it takes the pressure off. You realize that it's not about being perfect, it's about learning and improving along the way. Fear of failure often comes from the belief that you have to be perfect or have everything figured out before you take action. But that's not true. In fact, it's often the messy, imperfect steps that lead to the greatest growth. Another important aspect of overcoming fear is understanding the role of discomfort in personal growth. Think about it. Nothing that's worth having ever comes without some level of discomfort. Whether it's the discomfort of trying something new, the discomfort of stepping out of your comfort zone, or the discomfort of pushing through challenges, discomfort is a sign that you're growing. It's easy to want to avoid discomfort because it doesn't feel good, but that's where the magic happens. The most successful people in life didn't achieve their success by staying comfortable. They pushed through the discomfort and came out stronger on the other side. So instead of running from discomfort, start embracing it. Start seeing it as a signal that you're on the right track, that you're moving toward something greater. One of the best ways to deal with fear is to take action, no matter how small the action might seem. The longer you wait, the more time you give fear to grow stronger. But the moment you take that first step, you're sending a message to your brain that you're in control. Action has a powerful way of quieting fear. The more you take action, the less power fear has over you. Even if you don't feel fully confident, even if you don't have all the answers, taking action helps you build trust in yourself. You start to realize that you can handle whatever comes your way, that you are capable of figuring things out as you go. Fear will never fully go away, but that's okay. It doesn't have to. What matters is that you don't let it control you. You don't have to wait for the fear to disappear before you take action. In fact, the best time to act is when you're feeling afraid, because it means you're pushing yourself to grow. So the next time fear shows up, don't back down. Look it in the eye, acknowledge it, and keep moving forward. Each step you take is a step toward the life you want to create. And remember, you don't have to be fearless. You just have to be brave enough to act in spite of it. Chapter 11. Change your mindset. Change your life. It's funny how often we hear the phrase change your mindset or you need a new mindset in motivational circles. It's like everyone's always telling you that if you just think differently, everything will fall into place. But here's the truth. It's not as simple as just flipping a switch. Changing your mindset is not some magical one-time event that's going to happen overnight. It's a process, and it requires time, effort, and a lot of intentional work on your part. But, and this is important, it's absolutely one of the most powerful things you can do if you want to transform your life. Our mindset shapes everything about us: how we view the world, how we approach challenges, how we react to setbacks, and even how we see ourselves. If your mindset is fixed, you'll find it incredibly difficult to make meaningful changes in your life. If your mindset is one of growth, however, you open up a world of possibilities. This is the difference between feeling stuck and feeling empowered. And it all comes down to the way you think. Let's start by understanding what a growth mindset really is. At its core, a growth mindset is the belief that your abilities and intelligence are not fixed traits. They can be developed over time through effort, practice, and learning. When you have a growth mindset, you don't view challenges as threats, you see them as opportunities to grow. You don't look at failure as a reflection of who you are, you see it as part of the process, a stepping stone toward improvement. In contrast, a fixed mindset holds the belief that your talents and abilities are set in stone. With a fixed mindset, failure becomes something to avoid at all costs, because it feels like a personal attack on your abilities. Success, on the other hand, feels like something that can only be achieved by a select few who are born with it. Think about that for a moment. How often do you find yourself backing away from opportunities or challenges because you're afraid of failure or rejection? How many times have you talked yourself out of doing something because you thought, "I'm just not good enough," or "I'll never be able to do that"? That's the fixed mindset at work. But what if you could shift that thinking? What if you could view every challenge as a chance to learn and grow, rather than a threat to your self-worth? What if you could embrace the idea that failure is not something to fear, but something to learn from? Shifting your mindset is all about making that mental leap. It's about changing how you approach challenges and obstacles. Instead of seeing them as roadblocks, you begin to see them as part of the process of becoming better. Every time you face something difficult, you grow stronger. Every failure is just another lesson. And here's the secret: the more you practice this way of thinking, the easier it becomes. It doesn't happen overnight, but little by little, you'll start to see the world differently. The fear of failure starts to fade. The idea that you can't achieve something becomes laughable. And the best part, this shift in mindset begins to spill over into every area of your life. But you have to be intentional. A growth mindset isn't something that's just going to fall into your lap. It requires you to actively work on it every day. It means catching yourself when you slip into negative thinking and replacing those thoughts with more constructive ones. It means taking action even when you're scared. It means seeing opportunities for growth in places where others might see only obstacles. And above all, it means practicing patience with yourself. Changing your mindset isn't about instant perfection, it's about progress. Here's the thing: nobody is born with a growth mindset. It's something that's developed over time, through experiences, and through a conscious choice to think differently. And just like any other skill, the more you practice, the better you get at it. But there are a few key principles you can start embracing right away to shift your mindset. First, embrace the idea of yet. Think about this. Every time you tell yourself, "I can't do that," add the word yet to the end of the sentence. I can't do that yet. That little shift is huge. It tells your brain that just because you haven't achieved something yet doesn't mean you're incapable of doing it. It opens the door to possibility. The word yet implies that with effort, persistence, and time, you will get there. It gives you room to grow. Second, focus on the process, not the outcome. It's easy to get fixated on the end result, especially when we're chasing big goals. But the truth is, focusing too much on the outcome can be paralyzing. It can make you feel like you're not making progress unless you're already at the finish line. A growth mindset shifts the focus to the process. It's about embracing the journey and finding value in each step along the way. When you can learn to appreciate the small victories, the daily progress, and the lessons you learn along the way, you'll start to see your goals in a whole new light. The process itself becomes just as fulfilling as the outcome. Another key principle is to stop comparing yourself to others. We live in a world where it's easy to look at other people's success and feel like we're falling behind. Social media makes it even harder, with everyone posting their highlight reels. But here's the thing, your journey is unique to you. Your timeline is different. Your path may be longer or shorter than someone else's, but that doesn't make you any less worthy or capable. When you're focused on someone else's progress, you're taking your attention away from your own. Comparison steals your joy and stunts your growth. Instead of looking around at others, look inward. Focus on your own journey and the steps you need to take to keep moving forward. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem, and trust that your growth is happening at the right pace for you. And lastly, be kind to yourself. Changing your mindset is not an easy task, and there will be times when you slip up. You'll have moments of doubt. You'll feel like giving up. And that's okay. It's all part of the process. The key is to be patient with yourself and keep going. Remind yourself that growth takes time. Don't beat yourself up over a setback or a failure. Instead, look at it as an opportunity to learn and grow. In those moments, remember that you are in the middle of a transformation, and every challenge you face is just another step in that journey. Changing your mindset is a powerful tool for personal growth. It's the difference between feeling stuck and feeling empowered. It's the difference between staying where you are and moving toward the person you're meant to be. The good news is that you have the power to change your mindset, to shift the way you think, and to embrace a new way of seeing the world. It's a choice you can make every day. And with each small shift, you'll find that you're not just changing how you think, you're changing how you live. So take a moment and ask yourself, what would happen if I truly embraced a growth mindset? What if I believed that every challenge I face is an opportunity to grow? What if I stopped fearing failure and started seeing it as a lesson? The answers to those questions can change everything. Your mindset is the foundation of your success, and it's never too late to start building a stronger, more resilient one. Chapter 12. Protect your energy and focus. Life has a funny way of throwing distractions our way, doesn't it? 1 minute, you're focused and ready to tackle your goals, and the next something catches your attention and your energy is spent in 100 different directions. We live in a world where everything is designed to pull at our attention. From social media notifications to endless emails, it's easy to get lost in the noise. But here's the reality. If you're constantly distracted, you're never going to achieve the kind of focus it takes to build something meaningful in your life. And if you want to see lasting change, you need to protect your energy and your focus like never before. Focus is everything. Without it, you'll scatter your energy, waste time, and never get where you want to go. But to really understand how to protect your energy and focus, we need to first acknowledge a simple truth. We only have so much mental and physical energy to give each day. Your energy is a finite resource, and once it's drained, it's harder to get back to your tasks, harder to stay motivated, and harder to make progress. That's why it's crucial to be intentional about how you use it. Protecting your energy isn't just about saying no to others or cutting distractions out of your life, though that's part of it. It's also about taking care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. It's about recognizing when you're stretched too thin and giving yourself permission to pause, recharge, and refocus. Let's start with focus. Focus is about more than just sitting down and doing something without checking your phone every 5 minutes. True focus is an unwavering, laser-sharp concentration on the task at hand. It's about being fully present in whatever you're doing. And when you're focused, you not only get more done, but you also do it better. You can think clearly. You can make better decisions. You can problem solve with ease. But achieving this level of focus doesn't come naturally to everyone, and it certainly doesn't happen on its own. It requires practice. It requires setting clear intentions for what you want to accomplish, and then blocking out everything else that's trying to pull your attention away. So how do you begin to protect your focus? Well, it starts with being honest with yourself about where your attention is going. Take a step back and assess how you spend your time. How often do you find yourself scrolling through social media instead of working on a task that's important to you? How often do you get sidetracked by things that, in the grand scheme of things, don't really matter? We live in a world that makes it so easy to get distracted, but the more aware you are of where your attention is going, the better you can take control of it. One of the most effective ways to protect your focus is by setting clear boundaries. Boundaries are essential if you want to protect your time and energy. Think of them as guardrails that keep you on track. And yes, boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've been someone who's always said yes to everything. But you need to understand that saying no to things that don't serve your goals isn't selfish, it's necessary. When you protect your time, you're showing up for the things that really matter in your life. You're choosing to give your best energy to what's most important, instead of getting caught up in distractions. But boundaries aren't just about saying no to external things, they're also about saying no to your own distractions. How many times have you been in the middle of an important task, only to suddenly feel the urge to check your phone? Or maybe you've decided to work on something, but then your mind starts wandering, thinking about everything else you have to do. Our minds can be just as distracting as the world around us. To protect your focus, you need to train yourself to stay present and to redirect your mind when it tries to wander. One strategy that's helped me is time blocking. This means setting aside specific chunks of time in your day for focused work, and then fully committing to that time. No distractions, no multitasking. Just pure focus on the task at hand. And if your mind starts to wander, you gently bring it back. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. Now, let's talk about your energy. If focus is the muscle that drives your productivity, your energy is the fuel that keeps that muscle moving. Without energy, focus is useless. You can have all the best intentions, but if you're constantly drained, you'll find it difficult to maintain the kind of focus you need to be successful. Protecting your energy starts with recognizing the things that drain you, both physically and emotionally, and making sure you limit them as much as possible. One of the biggest energy drainers in our lives is stress. When you're stressed, your body is in a constant state of fight or flight. Your energy is being used up just to keep up with the tension, and you're not able to focus on anything else. This is why it's so important to manage stress effectively. You can't eliminate stress entirely. Life happens, and there will always be things that cause tension, but you can learn how to respond to it in a way that doesn't drain you. This means taking time to pause and breathe when you're feeling overwhelmed. It means recognizing when you need to step away from a situation, take a break, and reset. Stress management isn't about avoiding hard things, it's about learning how to deal with them in a healthy way. Another key aspect of protecting your energy is taking care of your body. If you're not getting enough sleep, eating well or exercising, your energy levels are going to take a hit. I know it's easy to think you can power through without taking care of your physical health, but trust me, that's a recipe for burnout. Your body needs proper rest to recharge. You need nourishing foods to fuel you, and you need physical movement to get your blood flowing and your energy up. It's easy to neglect these things when you're busy, but taking care of your body is one of the most effective ways to ensure you have the energy to stay focused and productive. But there's also an emotional component to protecting your energy. Have you ever found yourself surrounded by people who drain you? Maybe they're negative, or maybe they demand too much of your time and attention. Whatever the reason, there are people who can suck the life out of you if you're not careful. It's not that you don't care about them, but you need to be mindful of how much energy you're giving away. You don't have to say yes to every request. You don't have to engage in every conversation. Protecting your emotional energy is about recognizing when you need to step back and when it's okay to say no. It's about making sure you're not sacrificing your own well-being for the sake of others. So how do you protect both your focus and your energy on a daily basis? It starts with being intentional about how you use your time and attention. You need to create a routine that supports your goals and keeps you aligned with what really matters. Start by setting clear boundaries with yourself and others. Be mindful of distractions and make sure you're staying present in each moment. Prioritize your physical and emotional health, because without those you won't have the energy to stay focused. And finally, practice saying no. Say no to things, people, and habits that drain your energy, and say yes to the things that light you up and move you forward. When you protect your focus and energy, you're protecting the very things that will lead you to success. You're ensuring that every ounce of your time and effort is going towards something meaningful. It's not always easy, but the payoff is worth it. When you're clear, focused, and energized, you'll be unstoppable. And most importantly, you'll be building the life you've always dreamed of, one intentional step at a time. Chapter 13. Build resilience for tough times. Self-discipline is one of those qualities that separates the people who achieve greatness from the people who wish they had. It's the difference between dreaming about a better life and actually building one. But here's the thing, self-discipline isn't something you're born with. It's not a gift that some people are just lucky enough to have and others aren't. It's a skill like any other that you can develop and strengthen over time. And once you develop it, your ability to make progress toward your goals will skyrocket. You've probably heard the saying, if it were easy, everyone would do it. That's true, and it's especially true when it comes to self-discipline. The people who achieve the most are the ones who show up, day in and day out, and do the work, even when it's tough, even when it's uncomfortable, and even when they'd rather be doing something else. Self-discipline is the ability to stick to a plan, to keep pushing forward, and to resist the temptation of shortcuts or instant gratification. It's about making decisions that are in line with your long-term goals, even when the short-term rewards aren't as tempting. The first thing you need to understand about self-discipline is that it's not about being perfect. It's not about never slipping up or always doing the right thing. It's about developing the ability to get back on track when you do slip up, to push through the tough moments, and to keep going when the going gets hard. There will be times when you fall off course, when you lose focus, or when you make a mistake. But it's how you respond in those moments that will determine your success. If you let one slip-up stop you from moving forward, you'll never get anywhere. But if you pick yourself up, learn from your mistakes, and keep pushing ahead, you'll make progress. One of the biggest challenges to developing self-discipline is the temptation to take shortcuts. We live in a world that encourages instant gratification. We want what we want, and we want it now. But the problem with this mindset is that it doesn't align with the reality of long-term success. Success takes time. It takes effort. It requires consistency, and those things can't be rushed. In fact, when you try to rush things or take shortcuts, you often end up setting yourself back. You might experience a momentary gain, but it won't be sustainable in the long run. That's why true self-discipline is about learning to delay gratification. It's about understanding that the effort you put in now will pay off later, even if you can't see the results right away. Another key aspect of self-discipline is learning how to prioritize. Self-discipline is not just about doing everything you've planned to do. It's about doing the things that are most important. You can't be disciplined about everything, and trying to do too much will only leave you feeling overwhelmed and burnt out. That's why it's essential to be clear about what matters most to you and focus on those things. You have to be willing to say no to the things that don't align with your goals, even if they're tempting or seem urgent. If you're constantly saying yes to things that don't really matter, you'll never have the time or energy to focus on the things that will help you move forward in life. When you begin to develop self-discipline, you'll notice that it starts to become easier over time. It's like building a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. You won't wake up one day and suddenly be disciplined about everything. It's a gradual process, and it takes time to develop the habits that will support your goals. But the more you practice self-discipline, the more natural it will feel. It will become part of who you are. And when it becomes part of who you are, it will start to shape your decisions, your actions, and ultimately your results. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen your self-discipline is through routines. Routines are incredibly powerful because they take the guesswork out of your day. When you have a set routine, you don't have to decide every day what you're going to do. You already know. This removes the need for constant decision-making, which can drain your mental energy. The more decisions you have to make throughout the day, the more likely you are to make a poor decision or to give in to temptation. But when you have a clear routine in place, you can move through your day with more focus and less resistance. You can focus on the work that matters most and not get distracted by things that are less important. It's also important to recognize that self-discipline is not about working non-stop without rest. Many people make the mistake of thinking that to be disciplined, they have to work every waking hour. But the truth is that rest and recovery are just as important as work. Without rest, you'll burn out, you'll lose motivation, and you'll find it harder to stay disciplined. That's why it's important to schedule time for breaks, for relaxation, and for activities that recharge your energy. Rest isn't a reward for hard work. It's part of the process that helps you stay productive and focused over the long haul. Another key to developing self-discipline is setting clear goals and tracking your progress. Without a clear goal, it's easy to get off track or to lose sight of what you're working toward. When you set specific, measurable goals, you give yourself something to focus on. You give yourself a reason to stay disciplined. And when you track your progress, you can see how far you've come, which will keep you motivated to keep going. There's something powerful about seeing progress, even if it's small. It shows you that the effort you're putting in is paying off. Self-discipline is also about learning how to manage your environment. If you want to be more disciplined, you need to make it easy for yourself to stay on track. This means eliminating distractions, creating an environment that supports your goals, and removing temptations that could derail your progress. For example, if you want to write a book, it's not enough to just say, "I'm going to write." You need to create an environment where you can focus, turn off the TV, put away your phone, and set aside time specifically for writing. The fewer distractions you have, the easier it will be to stay disciplined. Self-discipline is about learning to be kind to yourself. It's about understanding that you won't always be perfect and that setbacks are part of the journey. When you make a mistake or fall off track, don't beat yourself up. Don't use it as an excuse to quit. Instead, use it as an opportunity to learn. What can you do differently next time? How can you improve? The most successful people are not the ones who never fail, they're the ones who keep getting up and trying again. When you master self-discipline, you unlock the potential to achieve anything you set your mind to. You become someone who can take consistent action toward your goals, even when it's hard. You become someone who doesn't let setbacks stop them. You become someone who is unstoppable. Self-discipline isn't just a skill, it's a mindset. It's the mindset of someone who is committed to growth, committed to success, and committed to living a life of purpose. And once you develop that mindset, there's nothing you can't achieve. Chapter 14. Develop relationships that lift you up. You've heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's not just a catchy quote, it's a profound truth. The people you surround yourself with play a massive role in shaping your mindset, your actions, and ultimately your success. Relationships are incredibly powerful. They can either propel you forward or hold you back. If you want to succeed in life, you need to be intentional about the relationships you nurture. You need to seek out those who will lift you up, who will encourage you, and who will challenge you to be better. When I say nurture relationships, I don't mean just any relationships. Not every person in your life will be a positive influence on your journey towards success. There are people who will hold you down, bring negativity into your life, or drag you into unhealthy habits. It's crucial to be discerning about who you spend your time with. Now, I'm not saying you should cut off everyone who isn't perfect or who doesn't align with your goals, but you do need to recognize when someone's energy is more of a hindrance than a help. You need to be willing to set boundaries and protect your peace. The truth is, we are social creatures. Our brains are wired for connection, and we often take on the characteristics, behaviors, and habits of those around us. If you're constantly surrounded by people who are complaining, doubting themselves, or living in a state of negativity, it's going to be hard for you to rise above that. You'll start to feel the weight of their negativity and uncertainty, and it will drain your energy. On the other hand, if you're surrounded by people who are optimistic, who are working toward their goals, and who inspire you to be better, you'll be more likely to adopt those same attitudes. You'll feel motivated, energized, and ready to take on the world. One of the best things you can do for your growth is to seek out mentors, people who have been where you want to go. Mentorship is invaluable. A mentor is someone who has already walked the path you're trying to walk. They've faced the challenges you'll face, and they've overcome them. They can show you the way, warn you about pitfalls, and offer guidance when you feel stuck. But mentorship doesn't just happen. You have to actively seek it out. It's not something that will fall into your lap. You need to find someone who you admire, someone whose life or work you respect, and approach them. Don't be afraid to ask for help or guidance. Most successful people are more than willing to share their knowledge, especially when they see that you're genuinely committed to learning and growing. At the same time, don't just seek out mentors, seek out peers who are on a similar journey as you. Your peer group can be just as important as your mentors. These are the people who are walking beside you, facing the same struggles, experiencing the same highs and lows. Having a strong support system of peers can make all the difference when the going gets tough. These are the people you can turn to when you need encouragement, advice, or just someone to listen. They understand your challenges because they're facing the same ones. You can learn from each other, support each other, and push each other to keep moving forward. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. There will be times when you need to distance yourself from certain relationships. Not everyone is meant to be in your life forever. As you grow and evolve, your relationships will evolve too. There will be people who no longer align with your values, who no longer support your growth, or who simply hold you back. It's painful to let go of people, but sometimes it's necessary for your own growth. You can't hold on to toxic relationships just because you're afraid of being alone or because you feel obligated. Your success and well-being are more important than any relationship that is weighing you down. One of the most challenging aspects of building a network of uplifting relationships is learning how to set boundaries. It's easy to get caught up in people-pleasing, to say yes to every request, to overextend yourself, or to allow others to drain your energy. But you can't pour from an empty cup. If you want to maintain healthy, supportive relationships, you need to learn how to set boundaries, both with others and with yourself. You need to protect your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. Saying no isn't selfish, it's necessary. It's okay to decline invitations, to set limits on how much time you spend with certain people, or to ask for space when you need it. Boundaries are a sign of self-respect, and they allow you to show up as your best self in all your relationships. As you build a network of uplifting relationships, you'll start to notice a shift in your life. You'll feel more supported, more motivated, and more empowered. The people around you will help you see possibilities that you might have missed on your own. They'll encourage you when you doubt yourself, and they'll hold you accountable when you slack off. Relationships can become the fuel that keeps your fire burning, especially during times when you feel like giving up. When things get tough, and they will get tough, you'll have a strong group of people who have your back. They'll remind you why you started, and they'll help you keep going when you want to quit. But building these kinds of relationships isn't just about what you can get from others, it's about what you can give. The most successful people are the ones who not only take from their network, but who also give back. Be someone who supports others. Be someone who lifts others up, who shares knowledge, who offers a helping hand. The more you give, the more you'll receive in return. And the relationships you build will be much stronger because they're rooted in mutual respect and support. Your network isn't just about your personal growth. It's about creating a community that helps everyone thrive. The people you surround yourself with should inspire you to be better, but you should also be a source of inspiration for them. Success is not a solo journey, it's a shared experience. The more you invest in building and nurturing strong, positive relationships, the more you'll realize that success isn't just about what you accomplish alone, it's about the impact you have on the people around you. If you want to build relationships that lift you up, be intentional. Seek out people who challenge you, who make you think differently, who inspire you to grow. Spend time with people who want to see you succeed and who will encourage you when things get tough. And remember, it's not just about quantity, it's about quality. It's better to have a small group of people who truly support you and want the best for you than a large group of acquaintances who don't bring much to the table. Choose your relationships wisely, and you'll find that they'll be one of the most powerful forces in helping you achieve success. Success is never a solo venture. It's a team effort, even if that team is just a few key people. Invest in those relationships. Nurture them. And always remember that the people you surround yourself with have the power to either lift you up or bring you down. Make sure you're surrounded by people who are going to help you rise. Chapter 15. Master the power of gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful thing. It's one of those simple yet profound practices that has the potential to change your entire life. It's easy to get caught up in the grind of everyday life, to focus on the things that are going wrong, the challenges you're facing, and the things you don't have. But here's the truth. If you spend all your time looking at what's missing or what's wrong, you'll miss out on the abundance that's already in your life. When you make gratitude a daily habit, it shifts your perspective. It changes the way you see the world. It helps you focus on the good, on the blessings, and on the opportunities that are right in front of you. I want you to think about this for a moment. When was the last time you stopped and truly appreciated something? I'm talking about taking a moment to be thankful for the people, experiences, and things that make your life richer. So often we're so busy looking ahead to the next goal, the next achievement, the next milestone, that we forget to acknowledge how far we've come. We forget to be grateful for the small things, the simple pleasures that are right there in front of us. And it's not until we take a moment to reflect that we realize just how much we have to be thankful for. Gratitude is about more than just saying thank you. It's about cultivating a mindset of appreciation, of recognizing the good in every situation, no matter how small. It's about shifting your focus away from lack and toward abundance. When you start practicing gratitude, you'll begin to notice things that you never noticed before. You'll see the little blessings that were always there, but that you may have overlooked. Maybe it's the smile of a stranger, the warmth of the sun on your face, or the fact that you woke up today with a chance to make a difference. These things matter. These things are worth appreciating. But I know it's not always easy. Life can be tough, and it's easy to fall into a mindset of complaining, of focusing on the negatives. It's easy to get caught up in the things that aren't going right and forget about the things that are. But here's the thing, every time you choose to focus on what's wrong, you're giving more power to those negative thoughts. You're allowing them to take control of your mind and your emotions. When you make gratitude a part of your daily routine, you take that power back. You start to see the good in every situation, even the challenging ones. You realize that no matter what's going on in your life, there is always something to be thankful for. Let me tell you something. Gratitude is a game changer. It can transform your mood, your mindset, and even your circumstances. When you start your day with gratitude, it sets the tone for everything that comes after. It shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant. It helps you stop comparing yourself to others and start appreciating what you already have. And here's the best part. The more you practice gratitude, the more you attract to be grateful for. It's like a snowball effect. When you start seeing the good in your life, you begin to notice even more good. The universe has a way of responding to that kind of energy. One of the easiest ways to start cultivating gratitude is by keeping a gratitude journal. Every day, take a few moments to write down 3 things you're thankful for. They don't have to be big things. In fact, sometimes it's the smallest things that make the biggest impact. Maybe it's a warm cup of coffee in the morning, a kind word from a friend, or the fact that you're in good health. Whatever it is, take the time to write it down. As you do, you'll begin to notice just how much you have to be thankful for. And over time, you'll find that your mindset shifts. You'll become more positive, more focused on the good, and more open to receiving even more blessings. But it doesn't just stop with a journal. Gratitude is something you can practice throughout your day. Every time you catch yourself focusing on something negative or worrying about the future, take a moment to pause and think about something you're grateful for. It could be something as simple as appreciating the roof over your head, the food on your table, or the people in your life who support you. Every time you shift your focus to gratitude, you're training your mind to see the good in every situation, and that's a powerful skill to have. Gratitude isn't just about feeling good, it's about recognizing that no matter where you are in life, you have something to be thankful for. You may not have everything you want, but you have something. You have something to build on, something to appreciate, something to be grateful for right now, in this moment. And that's the key to moving forward. When you focus on gratitude, you stop looking at what you don't have and start appreciating what you do. You begin to see opportunities, not obstacles. You begin to see challenges as stepping stones to your success rather than setbacks. And that shift in perspective is what will allow you to keep going, even when things get tough. When you practice gratitude, you also start to shift your relationships. Think about it. How do you feel when someone expresses gratitude toward you? It feels good, right? It makes you feel appreciated, valued, and seen. Now, imagine how powerful it would be if you made gratitude a consistent practice in your relationships. Imagine telling the people in your life how much you appreciate them, how grateful you are for their support, for their love, for their friendship. Not only will it strengthen your bonds, but it will also create a ripple effect. When you show gratitude to others, they're more likely to show gratitude back. And that creates a culture of appreciation that can transform not only your relationships, but your entire life. Gratitude is also an antidote to fear. When you're feeling anxious or fearful about the future, it's easy to get lost in the what-ifs. What if things don't work out? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? But when you focus on gratitude, it pulls you out of that fear-based thinking. You start to realize that you've faced challenges before and come out stronger on the other side. You begin to see that you have the resources, the strength, and the support you need to overcome whatever comes your way. Gratitude reminds you that you are capable, you are resilient, and you have everything you need to succeed. One of the most powerful things about gratitude is that it doesn't just benefit you, it benefits everyone around you. When you are grateful, you radiate positivity. Your energy becomes contagious, and people are drawn to it. When you express gratitude, you inspire others to do the same. It creates an environment of positivity and abundance. And in that environment, everyone can thrive. So when you make gratitude a part of your daily life, you're not just improving your own mindset, you're contributing to the well-being of the people around you. There's no shortage of things to be grateful for. The more you look, the more you'll find. And the more you practice gratitude, the more your life will begin to reflect that positivity. Your mindset will shift, your relationships will deepen, and your success will multiply. Gratitude has the power to transform your life in ways you can't even imagine. It's a simple practice, but it's one that has the potential to change everything. So make it a part of your daily routine. Write it down, speak it out loud, feel it in your heart, and watch how your life transforms as a result. Chapter 16. Learn to adapt and thrive in change. Change is a constant, isn't it? It's one of those truths about life that no one can avoid. Whether we like it or not, life will throw change our way. Sometimes it's small and manageable, like a shift in your daily routine. Other times, it feels like the ground beneath you is shifting, and everything you once knew is no longer the same. Those moments can be unsettling. They can feel overwhelming. But here's the thing about change. It's not something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's something to learn from, grow with, and even thrive in. Now, I know that's easier said than done. Most of us don't naturally like change. It's uncomfortable. It takes us out of our comfort zones, out of what's familiar and predictable. And let's face it, most of us like the predictable. We like knowing what's coming next. But the reality is, if you stay too comfortable for too long, you stop growing. You stop evolving. And isn't growth what life is all about? Isn't it about becoming the best version of yourself, about reaching for new heights, about discovering what you're truly capable of? So the question isn't whether change will come. It will. The question is how you're going to handle it. Are you going to resist it, fight it, try to avoid it? Or are you going to lean into it, adapt, and find a way to make it work for you? That choice is entirely up to you. And let me tell you, the ability to adapt and thrive in the face of change is one of the most important skills you can develop. It's a skill that will serve you in every area of your life, your career, your relationships, your personal growth. Adapting to change starts with mindset. If you approach change with a mindset of fear and resistance, it's going to feel a whole lot harder. But if you can shift your perspective, if you can start to see change as an opportunity rather than a threat, everything changes. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you can ask, "What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this?" That simple shift in perspective can make all the difference. It can turn a challenge into a stepping stone. It can turn a setback into a setup for something even better. One of the keys to thriving in change is flexibility. Life rarely goes exactly as planned, and that's okay. Plans are great, but they should be a guide, not a rigid roadmap. When things don't go according to plan, it's not the end of the world. It's an opportunity to pivot, to adjust, to try something new. Flexibility means being open to possibilities you hadn't considered before. It means being willing to let go of what isn't working and embrace what is. It's about staying grounded in your values and your vision while being open to different paths to get there. Another important part of thriving in change is self-awareness. Take the time to check in with yourself. How are you feeling about the changes happening in your life? What fears or doubts are coming up for you? What excites you about this new chapter? Self-awareness is like a compass. It helps you navigate through the uncertainty. It helps you understand what you need to feel grounded and supported. And it helps you identify any limiting beliefs that might be holding you back from embracing change fully. Now let's talk about resilience. Resilience is your ability to bounce back from setbacks, to keep going even when things get tough. And let's be honest, change can be tough. It can test your patience, your strength, your resolve. But here's the good news. Resilience isn't something you're born with or without. It's something you can build. It's like a muscle. The more you work on it, the stronger it gets. Resilience comes from facing challenges head-on, from learning from your experiences, and from reminding yourself of your own strength. One of the ways to build resilience is to focus on what you can control. Change often brings uncertainty, and it's easy to get caught up in the things that are out of your hands. But when you focus on what you can do, on the actions you can take, the choices you can make, you take back your power. You remind yourself that no matter what's happening around you, you have the ability to respond in a way that aligns with your values and your goals. Let's not forget about the importance of support. Change is hard enough on its own. You don't have to go through it alone. Lean on the people in your life who lift you up, who encourage you, who remind you of your strength. Whether it's a friend, a family member, a mentor, or a support group, having a strong network can make all the difference. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to share your fears and your struggles. You might be surprised at how much support is out there when you're willing to open up and let people in. And finally, remember to celebrate your progress. Change is a journey, and every step forward is worth acknowledging. Even if it's just a small step, it matters. It's progress. It's growth. It's you showing up for yourself, even when it's hard. Take a moment to recognize that. Take a moment to appreciate how far you've come, even if you're not yet where you want to be. That acknowledgement, that celebration, can fuel you to keep going. Change isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. It's an invitation to grow, to evolve, to become the person you're meant to be. So embrace it. Lean into it. Trust that, no matter what changes come your way, you have what it takes to navigate them. You have the strength, the resilience, and the courage to adapt and thrive. Life is full of twists and turns, but each one brings an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to create a life that's even more meaningful and fulfilling. And that, my friend, is something to look forward to. Chapter 17. Find and fuel your passion. One of the most fulfilling things in life is finding that thing that lights a fire in your soul. I'm talking about your passion. That thing that makes you feel alive, that you can't stop thinking about, that you do for free just because it brings you joy or fulfillment. Finding your passion is like unlocking a part of yourself that's been waiting to come alive. But here's the thing, it's not always obvious what your passion is. And that's okay. The journey to discovering it can be just as meaningful as living it. Let's start with the idea of passion itself. Sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves to find the one thing we're supposed to do in life. But passion isn't always one single thing. It can be a combination of interests, skills, and experiences that bring you joy and purpose. Maybe you love helping people and also have a knack for creating things. Maybe you're drawn to numbers but also have a love for storytelling. Passion doesn't have to fit neatly into a box. It's personal, and it's unique to you. To begin uncovering your passion, take a moment to reflect. Think about the times in your life when you felt truly alive, when you were completely immersed in what you were doing, and time seemed to fly by. What were you doing in those moments? What about those experiences brought you joy or satisfaction? It could be something you did as a kid, something you've always been curious about, or even something you haven't tried yet. Sometimes our passion is hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to notice it. It's also important to pay attention to what excites you now. What do you find yourself gravitating toward in your free time? What topics do you love learning about? What problems do you feel deeply about solving? These are clues to what might fuel your passion. But here's the key. Don't overthink it. Passion isn't something you figure out by analyzing every detail. It's something you feel. It's something you connect with on an emotional level. So let your curiosity lead you. Explore without judgment. Try things that interest you, even if they seem unrelated or out of your comfort zone. Once you start identifying what excites you, the next step is to nurture it. Passion isn't just something you discover, it's something you build and fuel over time. That means dedicating time and energy to it, even if it's just a little bit each day. If you love writing, write. If you're drawn to music, pick up an instrument. If you want to help people, look for ways to make an impact. Passion grows when you give it attention and care. It's like a flame that gets stronger the more you feed it. Now let's address a common challenge. What if you feel like you don't have time for passion? Life is busy, and it's easy to put your interests on the back burner. But here's the truth. You make time for what matters to you. It might mean waking up a little earlier, saying no to something less important, or even just starting with 15 minutes a day. The point is, you don't need hours and hours to explore your passion. You just need to start. And as you make it a priority, you'll find ways to create more space for it in your life. Another thing to remember is that passion doesn't always mean it's easy. In fact, pursuing your passion can be challenging. There will be days when it feels hard, when you doubt yourself, when progress seems slow. But that's part of the journey. Passion isn't about perfection, it's about commitment. It's about showing up, even when it's tough, because you know it's worth it. Those challenges, those moments of struggle, they're what help you grow. They're what make the experience meaningful. Let's talk about the bigger picture. Your passion isn't just about what you do. It's about the impact it has on you and the people around you. When you're living in alignment with your passion, it shows. You bring more energy, enthusiasm and purpose to everything you do. You inspire others by example. You show them what's possible when you follow your heart and commit to what matters to you. And that ripple effect, it's powerful. It can create opportunities and connections you never imagined. Sometimes, people worry that their passion won't lead to anything useful or practical. But here's the thing. Passion doesn't have to fit into a traditional mold. It doesn't have to be your job or make you money to be valuable. Passion adds richness to your life. It brings you joy, helps you grow, and gives you a sense of purpose. And who knows, it might even open doors to opportunities you never expected. But even if it doesn't, the journey itself is worth it. If you're still unsure about your passion, don't be discouraged. It's not something you need to figure out overnight. It's okay to take your time, to explore, to try different things. Passion isn't a destination, it's a journey. And every step you take, every experience you have, brings you closer to understanding what truly lights you up. So be patient with yourself, trust the process, and keep moving forward. I want to leave you with this: your passion is yours. It doesn't have to look like anyone else's. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. What matters is that it makes sense to you, that it brings you joy, that it helps you grow into the person you're meant to be. So, go out there, explore, create, learn, build, find what fuels your soul, and let it guide you to a life that's rich, meaningful, and uniquely yours. Because when you're living with passion, you're truly living. And that's the greatest gift you can give yourself. Chapter 18. Track and celebrate your progress. One of the most underrated but powerful things you can do in your journey to success is to stop, reflect, and celebrate. It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle of moving forward that you forget to acknowledge how far you've come. But think about this for a second. What's the point of achieving something if you don't take a moment to enjoy it? Life is not just about the destination, it's about appreciating every step of the journey. Let's start with the idea of tracking progress. You might be thinking, why is this so important? Can't I just keep going and know I'm doing fine? Sure, you can keep going, but here's the thing. When you track your progress, you create a clear picture of your growth. It's like watching a plant you've nurtured grow taller each day. Tracking keeps you grounded and gives you tangible proof that your efforts are paying off. You don't need anything fancy to track your progress. It can be as simple as keeping a journal or using a notebook. Every day, jot down what you accomplished, no matter how small it seems. Maybe you had a productive meeting, finished reading a chapter of a book, or simply made it to the gym when you didn't feel like going. Write it all down. Those small wins add up, and when you look back, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. Another way to track your progress is to set benchmarks. Think of these as milestones along the way to your bigger goals. For example, if you're working toward a fitness goal, your benchmarks might be hitting a certain weight, running a certain distance, or lifting a heavier weight. If you're building a business, your benchmarks could be reaching your first 10 customers, earning a specific amount of revenue, or launching your website. These benchmarks give you something to aim for and help you measure your growth in a tangible way. Now, let's talk about celebrating your progress. This is where the magic happens. Celebrating isn't just about having fun, it's about reinforcing the idea that your efforts matter. When you celebrate, you're telling yourself, I'm proud of what I've done, and I'm excited to keep going. That kind of mindset is what keeps you motivated in the long run. Celebration doesn't have to be elaborate or expensive. It can be something as simple as treating yourself to your favorite meal, taking a day off to relax, or sharing your success with a friend or loved one. What matters is that it feels meaningful to you. It's about creating a moment of joy and appreciation for yourself. There's another layer to this, sharing your wins with others. I know some people hesitate to do this because they don't want to seem like they're bragging, but sharing isn't about showing off. It's about spreading positivity. When you share your success, you inspire others to go after their own goals. You show them what's possible, and you create a community of support and encouragement. So don't be afraid to say, "Hey, I accomplished this, and I'm really proud of it." Of course, there will be times when you feel like you're not making progress. That's normal. Growth isn't always a straight line. It's often a series of ups and downs. During those times, it's especially important to look back at how far you've come. Reflect on the challenges you've overcome, the lessons you've learned, and the wins you've achieved. This reflection can remind you that even when progress feels slow, you're still moving forward. I also want to emphasize the importance of gratitude in this process. Celebrating your progress isn't just about what you've done, it's about appreciating the people, opportunities, and resources that have helped you along the way. Maybe it's a mentor who gave you valuable advice, a friend who supported you when things were tough, or even the books and tools that guided you. Take a moment to acknowledge those things. Gratitude has a way of amplifying the joy of celebration. There's a practical side to tracking and celebrating progress as well. When you have a record of your journey, you create a roadmap that you can refer to in the future. If you ever feel stuck or unsure of your next step, you can look back and see what worked for you before. It's like having a personal guide to success, written by you for you. One thing I want to stress is that progress doesn't have to be big to be worth celebrating. Some days, progress might look like taking one small step forward. Other days, it might mean bouncing back from a setback. Both are worth acknowledging. It's not about the size of the step, it's about the direction you're moving in. As you celebrate, remember to stay humble. Success is a journey, not a final destination. No matter how much you achieve, there's always more to learn, more to grow, and more to contribute. Let your celebrations be a reminder of the journey ahead and a source of fuel to keep going. So here's what I'd like you to take away from this conversation. Tracking and celebrating your progress isn't just a nice thing to do, it's essential. It keeps you motivated, builds your confidence, and helps you stay connected to your goals. It's a way of honoring your efforts and acknowledging that you're on the right path. Take the time to reflect on your wins, big and small. Treat yourself to moments of joy and celebration. Share your journey with others, and let their encouragement lift you higher. And above all, keep moving forward, knowing that every step you take is a step toward the life you're working to create. You've got this, and I'm proud of you. Now go out there and keep building the life you deserve. Chapter 19. Live a balanced and fulfilling life. A crucial piece in the puzzle of personal success. Many people think of success as a destination, a place you reach when you've made it, when you've achieved everything you've set out to do. But here's the truth. Success is not just about reaching a goal. It's about how you live, how you feel along the way, and how you manage the delicate balance between work, relationships, and your own well-being. In our fast-paced world, it can feel like we're constantly racing against the clock, checking off to-do lists, striving to meet deadlines, and pushing ourselves harder and harder. It's easy to get caught in the trap of thinking that the more you do, the more successful you'll be. But over time, that approach leaves you feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, and unfulfilled. It's a tough realization, but the truth is, no matter how many things you achieve or how hard you work, without balance, you won't experience the kind of fulfillment that lasts. Let's talk about balance first. This isn't about splitting your time evenly between work and leisure. It's not about scheduling specific hours for each aspect of your life. Balance is about recognizing that there are different areas of life that demand attention: work, family, health, personal growth, and even downtime. If you neglect one area for too long, other parts of your life start to suffer. But when you manage to keep them all in mind and give each one the attention it deserves, you begin to feel a sense of harmony, like everything is working together. One of the biggest struggles many people face is the pressure to succeed at everything all at once. You might feel like you need to be the perfect employee, the perfect spouse, the perfect parent, the perfect friend. The list goes on. And because we're told over and over again that success means excelling in all these roles, we burn out trying to do it all. But here's the thing: you can't be all things to all people at all times. Trying to do that will only lead to disappointment and stress. The key is recognizing that you don't have to be perfect in every area. You don't need to have it all figured out or be flawless. Success is about making progress in all the important areas, not about being perfect in every single one. And the reality is, sometimes you'll need to give more time and energy to one area of your life while another takes a back seat for a while. That's okay. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to balance. What works for one person might not work for you, and that's okay. The important thing is that you're conscious of the need to find balance and that you're adjusting as needed. This leads me to the idea of fulfillment. Fulfillment is something deeper than just happiness or satisfaction. You might have a successful career, be in a stable relationship, and be financially secure, but still feel unfulfilled. You could be working hard toward goals, but still feel like something's missing. Fulfillment comes from the alignment of your actions with your values, your purpose, and your passions. It's about doing things that bring you a sense of meaning, that make you feel like you're living in a way that reflects who you are at your core. When you're not living in alignment with your true values, it's easy to feel empty, even when outwardly everything might seem fine. Think about it this way. Imagine you're working hard to climb a ladder. You might be moving up the rungs, but if that ladder is leaning against the wrong wall, all that effort is for nothing. Fulfillment comes when your efforts are aligned with your passions and purpose, when the work you're doing connects with the person you want to be. So, how do you find that balance and fulfillment? It begins with a simple but powerful practice: self-awareness. You need to know yourself, your values, your strengths, and your weaknesses. When you take the time to understand what truly matters to you, you can start to make choices that align with those values. It's a process of trial and error, of course. You won't get it perfect right away, but the more you reflect on your life and your goals, the clearer it becomes. Start by asking yourself, what makes you feel energized? What brings you joy? What would you do even if no one paid you for it? These are all clues that point toward your deeper purpose. When you're doing what truly matters to you, everything else falls into place more easily. You're more motivated, more focused, and more connected to your work and relationships. But here's the catch: self-awareness requires quiet time. In today's world, we're bombarded with noise, social media, emails, meetings, constant distractions. If you don't carve out time to sit with yourself and think deeply, you'll never be able to truly understand what's important to you. It's in those quiet moments, away from the chaos, that you can tune in to your inner voice and hear what it's saying. That's when you start to make choices that honor your true self. Another crucial part of finding balance and fulfillment is learning how to say no. We often think that in order to succeed or be loved, we need to say yes to everything. But the truth is, saying yes to everything means saying no to the things that really matter. It's about being selective with your time and energy. Saying no isn't a bad thing. It's a powerful way to protect your boundaries and ensure that you're focusing on the things that align with your goals and values. When you say no to distractions, you say yes to your purpose. This doesn't mean you should cut yourself off from people or opportunities, but it does mean that you should be intentional with where you invest your time. It's about setting boundaries that allow you to protect the most important areas of your life, your health, your relationships, and your personal growth. I want to talk about the importance of rest. We live in a world that praises hustle, but the truth is, rest is just as important as hard work. Without rest, you can't show up as your best self. You can't give your best to your work, your loved ones, or your passions. Rest isn't laziness, it's a form of self-care that allows you to recharge, replenish, and come back even stronger. Whether it's taking a day off, getting a good night's sleep, or simply spending time doing something you enjoy, rest is essential for maintaining balance and fulfillment in your life. At the end of the day, life isn't just about working harder or achieving more. It's about living in a way that aligns with your true self, creating space for the things that matter most, and finding the balance that allows you to thrive. When you live a life that reflects your values and your purpose, you create a foundation for lasting success. But that success is not just about what you achieve, it's about how you feel along the way. It's about living a life that makes you proud, a life that's fulfilling in every sense of the word. So ask yourself today, are you truly fulfilled? Are you balancing the different areas of your life in a way that supports your overall well-being? Take the time to reflect on these questions, and remember, it's okay if things aren't perfect. Life is a journey, and every step you take toward balance and fulfillment is a victory in itself. Keep moving forward with intention, knowing that the most important thing is not how much you achieve, but how you feel along the way. Chapter 20. Commit to constant renewal. We often think that once we achieve a certain level of success or reach a certain goal, we can coast for a while. But let me tell you this, growth and success aren't destinations, they're processes, ongoing journeys. Committing to constant renewal means that you embrace the idea that you must keep evolving, keep learning, and keep pushing yourself forward, no matter where you are in life. Renewal isn't just about making changes when things go wrong. It's not just for when we're stuck or have hit a wall. Renewal is about proactively looking for ways to improve, to grow, and to become better versions of ourselves, even when things are going well. It's the willingness to evaluate yourself and your life continually, to ask the tough questions, and to take bold steps forward, even when you're comfortable. Think about it for a moment. Every day you're either growing or you're stagnating. There's no in-between. If you're not actively seeking growth, you're slowly falling behind. The world around us is always changing. New technology, new ideas, new opportunities, and if you're not renewing yourself in response to that change, you risk becoming irrelevant. We've all seen it happen. People who were once leaders in their field fade into the background because they stopped evolving. They got complacent, comfortable with where they were, and they stopped pushing themselves to get better. Constant renewal starts with self-awareness. It requires you to check in with yourself regularly, to honestly assess where you are, what you've achieved, and what's next. You have to acknowledge your strengths, but also recognize where you're falling short. And I'm not talking about being critical of yourself in a negative way. This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about being real with yourself, accepting where you are, and figuring out where you need to go next. Only then can you create a plan for your next steps. Steps that will take you closer to the person you're meant to be. One of the things that people often resist is change. Change can be uncomfortable, even scary. The older we get, the more set in our ways we become. We start to believe that we've figured it all out, that we know what works for us, and that there's no need to try new things. But let me tell you something. Comfort is the enemy of growth. The minute you stop challenging yourself is the minute you start to stagnate. If you want to achieve anything significant in life, you have to embrace discomfort. You have to embrace change and see it for what it is, an opportunity for growth. Without it, you'll never reach your full potential. But renewal isn't just about intellectual growth. It's also about your emotional and spiritual renewal. How often do you take the time to check in with yourself emotionally? Are you carrying around old baggage, unresolved issues, or negative thought patterns that are weighing you down? If you are, then it's time to renew your mindset. Let go of the past, forgive yourself and others, and embrace the present moment. Emotional renewal is about freeing yourself from the things that are holding you back so that you can move forward with clarity, purpose, and peace. Another important part of committing to constant renewal is the ability to adapt. Life is full of surprises, and things don't always go according to plan. In fact, most of the time they don't. But how you respond to those changes determines your success. Some people resist change, while others embrace it. The ones who succeed are the ones who can adapt, who can find new ways to approach challenges, and who can look at setbacks as opportunities to learn. If you want to continue growing and evolving, you need to be willing to adapt to whatever life throws at you. And that requires flexibility, resilience, and a mindset that's open to new possibilities. Let's talk about learning. Learning is one of the most important aspects of renewal. In fact, I would say it's the foundation of personal growth. It's impossible to renew yourself if you're not learning. And here's the thing, learning doesn't stop when you leave school. It doesn't stop when you hit a certain age or reach a certain level of success. In fact, the most successful people are lifelong learners. They never stop seeking knowledge. They understand that the world is constantly evolving, and in order to keep up, they need to keep learning. Whether it's reading books, taking courses, or simply talking to people who know more than you do, there's always something new to learn. And the more you learn, the more you renew your ability to innovate, adapt, and stay ahead. Renewal is also about taking care of yourself physically. Your body is the vessel that carries you through life, and if you're not taking care of it, it's going to be much harder to keep up with the demands of personal growth and success. It's easy to neglect your health when you're focused on achieving big goals, but the truth is, your health is a critical part of your success. If you don't have the energy, vitality, and mental clarity to show up at your best, none of your other efforts will matter. So take the time to eat well, exercise, and get enough rest. Renew your physical energy, and you'll find that everything else in your life becomes easier to handle. As you commit to constant renewal, it's important to set aside time for reflection. You need to take time to look back and evaluate what you've done, what you've learned, and how far you've come. Reflection is an essential part of growth because it allows you to learn from your experiences. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day hustle, but without reflection, you're likely to miss important lessons. So set aside time regularly to reflect on your progress, your challenges, and your wins, and use that reflection to guide you as you move forward. One of the most powerful aspects of constant renewal is that it empowers you to set new goals. Renewal gives you the chance to start fresh, to revisit your dreams, and to create new goals that align with the person you've become. Life isn't static, and neither are you. As you grow, your goals should evolve too. What mattered to you 5 years ago may not matter to you today. Your passions, priorities, and purpose will shift, and your goals need to reflect those changes. Committing to constant renewal means that you're always open to setting new, meaningful goals that push you to be your best self. This process of renewal is ongoing, and it's something that you have to make a daily habit. It's easy to get distracted, to fall into the trap of just going through the motions. But if you're serious about growth and success, you have to make renewal a priority. You have to commit to it every single day. The more consistently you commit to renewing yourself, through learning, through self-reflection, through adapting to change, the more you'll grow and the more you'll be able to achieve. So as you move forward in life, remember that renewal is not a one-time event. It's a constant, ongoing process. Don't let yourself fall into complacency. Keep seeking ways to grow, to learn, and to improve. The world is changing, and you need to change with it. Commit to your own personal renewal, and you'll be amazed at the incredible things you're capable of achieving.